Hi, Gary Chillingworth here for Airgunning Magazine, Shooting and Country TV. Welcome to Life at the Range. So, what are we looking at this week? Well, today we're looking at the importance of gun fit. Having a rifle that fits you is incredibly important. Having an oversized rifle or an undersized rifle can really affect the way you shoot. Is it important if you've got long arms or short arms? If you're tall, you're short, you're fat, you're thin? Is picking the correct rifle important for your scores? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have a good look at the different guns, whether or not you want an adjustable cheek piece, an adjustable butt pad, whether or not you want a hamster, whether or not you shoot from the shoulder and you like a sporter rifle. Luckily, if you're a certain type of shooter, it can save you lots of money. Otherwise, if you're a different type of shooter, it's going to cost you money. But we're going to get into that and we're going to look at the different types of guns and whether or not they will fit you and how you should go about picking your very first rifle or even one further down the line. Welcome to Life at the Range. So let's start off with the most basic of rifles. Now, I'm not saying that the HW100 is a basic rifle. It's not. It's one of the best rifles on the market. But what I'm talking about is its basic shape. This is an action in a stock, and that's pretty much it. It's got no adjustable butt pad. It's got no adjustable cheek riser, cheek piece, and it's got no hamster. It is what we call a sporter rifle, a hunting rifle. This is the most basic stock kind of rifle you can get. You know, if you buy a Viroc, it'll be the HW100. If you buy an Air Arms, it'll be the S400. You will see many guns like this in your gun shop. And when you walk into the gun shop and they hand you your rifle and you pick it up to your shoulder, oh, that's lovely. Feels absolutely amazing. It's well balanced, feels really nice in the hand. And if they put a scope on it on low mounts, you're looking what you think is straight through the center of the scope. As you can see, my eye is here and it's pointing. Take my glasses off, my eye is here and it's going forward. But actually, I can tell that I'm actually looking quite low down in the scope. But we'll come into that in a minute. So this looks perfect, doesn't it? I look stable, I look happy, everything's great. And if I want to shoot like this all day long, I'm going to be a very happy competitor. But when I lay down, things are going to change. So now I'm in the prone position, I'm laying down. And if I'm going to come up the peg, should have put my glove out. Again, you can see everything is good. I've got my cheek piece on the cheek comb, my hand's gripping the peg, I'm looking through the center of the scope. Everything is right with the world. I'm very, very happy. But most competition shooters, certainly in HFT, will take the advantage of resting the butt of the rifle on the ground. So let's do that. We're laid on the ground, we're gripping the peg, and now when I'm looking through the scope, my eye is looking at the block. That's absolutely impossible. Let's try and see if I can get my head up. Now I'm looking through the bottom. So if I want to bring my head up so I can actually look through the center of the scope, you can see I've now got what we call a floating head. The gun's stable, but I'm going to get parallax error because I can't put my head in an absolutely locked in position every time I want to shoot. Just not stable. So what can we do about that? Well, this is a brilliant rifle, HW100S. But there is also an HW100 KT. Luckily, we've got one of those as well. Here we have the HW100 KT. And you can see that it comes from the manufacturer with an adjustable butt pad, an adjustable cheek piece, but it's got the same depth of stock. I've got an aftermarket 3D printed hamster made by Bob Pattenden. I think he charges about £30 for those. Absolutely beautiful. So let's do exactly the same shot. Grip the peg. Now you can see the butt of the rifle is now resting on the deck. But because we've got this adjustable cheek piece, sorry, this adjustable butt pad pushed all the way down, the rifle is now higher. Put my cheek on the cheek piece, which is raised up, and I'm now looking dead through the centre of the scope. And these are BKL mounts. They're not the lowest mounts in the world. So if I wanted to put low mounts on, I could adjust this down. I'm resting my hand on the ground and gripping the peg. And the deep hamster is now resting on hand. So I'm not using any strength on top of the peg, which could, you know, if the peg was wet like it currently is and I wasn't wearing a glove, my hand could slip. But I'm resting on the ground. So I've now got a point of contact at the rear. My hand's resting on the ground. The rifle's resting on my hand. My cheek is pushing down almost into my hand, and I have got the most stable platform you can possibly get. This is the advantage of having a gun. You can adjust the cheek piece, the butt pad, and that you can put a hamster on. Absolutely superb. You can just see how stable I am. Now, let's say you've got to come up the peg. Is it going to affect you? See, I'm gripping the hamster with my finger, hand on the peg, and I can still see through the centre of the scope. Very, very happy. No problems whatsoever. Now, the other thing is, we'll just put this one down. We'll just grab out HW100. Now, another big thing that you have to think about, certainly if you're not adjusting a cheek piece, is making sure you're always looking through the dead centre of the scope. Because sometimes when you look through, you could be looking through the bottom of the scope, through the top of the scope, through the right, through the left. You want to be absolutely dead centre. And when you're setting up your gun, especially one with an adjustable cheek piece, is you want to set your cheek piece so that you are looking, let's say, through dead centre. And this is a great trick. Take a piece of tin foil, and wrap it around your scope. Then press down on the edge, so you're making an indentation. You see, now we've got that. Take a ruler, take a measurement, So this one is 4 centimeters circular. Take a pen, mark your center. Obviously you can go a little bit more in depth than I am. And what you want to do is create a tiny little hole in the center of your foil. So this is now your dead center of your scope. Put your piece back on, and then look through. Now, I'm looking through now, and I cannot see the target. All I can see is foil. I raise my head up, and now I can see. I'm now looking through dead center. So when I thought my head was on the cheek piece, and I was getting a perfectly good view, so if I take this off now, and I'm in that same position, I can see the target. But what I'm doing is I'm looking through the curved part of the lens. I'm not looking through the center. Put this back on. So even if I had a rifle like this, I could adjust my face, and I now know that I've got to put that part of my jaw on the cheek piece as opposed to my cheekbone. So it will be jaw as opposed to bone. But that's no good. That is dead center. With my other rifle, this is the reason I didn't do it, because I've got a scope maximizer on it. What I would do is I would place my foil over my lens. I would go into the prone position and I would look through. If I couldn't see, I would just up and down until I had a perfect view through that little hole, and then I would lock the cheek riser in, and that way I would know that every time I put my cheekbone, the hard bit, on the scope, I'm looking through dead center. Now, why do you use the cheekbone as opposed to the fleshy bit, and mine is very, very fleshy, on your face? Mainly because we all change. If you drink a lot of water, you could be a bit puffy in the morning. If you haven't had a lot of sleep, your face can be a bit swollen, a bit puffy. So if you were just using the fat part of your face, that could shift your head over to the left a bit. Or if you set it up after you'd had a big dinner the night before, and then you were going back and you sort of hadn't eaten much that day, your face might be a bit thinner, and it's going to move your face around. If you use that hard part of your cheekbone or your jaw, whatever you want to use, but use bone, put that bone on there, and you know that you are dead center. Because if you push down onto the bone's not going to move. Your skull isn't going to change. And that will enable you to center your eye as best as you possibly can in the center of your scope every single time. The other thing you need to think about when you're buying a rifle, especially if you're going to be competing in hunter field target, is how do you take your standers? Now, the HW100 is quite a short rifle. Now, I specifically like to take my standers with my legs all the way back and my hands quite a way forward. And as you can see, I'm now actually gripping the silencer of the rifle. Now, you don't really want to be doing that. You want to be gripping there, but I find it very hard to grip the rifle in that position. Now, this is no criticism of the HW100. I love the HW100. I own two. But if you're the sort of person who likes to take their standers close up to the tree in that position, and so your legs are relatively close and you're locked in and you're essentially just using the tree to support an unsupported stander, that's absolutely fine. Again, for me, that's actually quite stable. But if I want to shoot my regular position, that doesn't really work for me. That's why I like something like a long target rifle. Here I have the HFT 500 by Air Arms. Now, I've got to acknowledge thing. I'm an Air Arms ambassador. I shoot for the Air Arms team. I'm the captain of the Air Arms Springer team. But this is not buy an Air Arms, they're better than a Viroc or better than a Steyr or whatever. I've got this rifle. I bought it myself. I bought it off Pete Sparks. I love this rifle. I love my TX. I love my HW100s. I'm just pointing this out so that you can make an informed choice. So here, as you can see, this has got an aftermarket hamster. I think this one was made by Pete Dunn. It's resting on my arm. I'm just touching the cylinder for balance. Looking through here, I've realised that my scope is actually twisted. Mind you, I did just sling it on the other day. But you can see, for me, I am totally balanced, totally happy in that position. I'm not touching the barrel because I've got the long cylinder underneath, so it won't, for me, affect accuracy. For me, that's about as stable as I will ever get with a PCP unsupported standing. So know how you want to shoot. Know what you want in a gun. If you go to a gun shop, when you go to pick your rifle, make sure they put a scope on it and see if you can find some. Ask them if you can borrow a door jamb to lean against and actually test your rifle. But the best thing to do is go down to a club. Join someone, you know, I'm a member of Malden District Airgun Club, and I'll guarantee you, if you go down there on a Sunday, first Sunday of the month, you'll be able to throw a stick and hit a couple of people with an HW100, a couple of people with an HFT 500, people with Steyrs, FTPs, BSAs, you name it, there'll be people with the guns. So ask if you can borrow them, try them, hold them, lean up against a tree, stay prone, do what you need to do, but make sure your gun fits you and that, you know, you're happy. These are over £1,000. The KT's over £1,000. What you don't want to do is buy a gun that does not fit you. Now, the other thing that you've got to think about is you will hear a lot of people say, oh, buy a heavy gun, it helps stability. Not always. It can help, you know, but most of the time you're prone. Just because you're small, I'll give you for an instance, Dave Ramshead. Now, I'll put a picture up here of Dave. Now, Dave is probably the best HFT shooter we've ever seen. Don't tell him I said that. He's never failed to get into the England team. He's always in the top 1 or 2 or 3. The guy's just a machine. He can shoot HFT, he can shoot FT, you name it. But the thing about Dave is he's only 2 inches taller than your average Oompa Loompa. You know, the man is tiny. You know, he buys most of his clothes in Baby Gap. But the target or the rifle he likes to shoot with is often an Air Arms Pro Target, which is a big old lumpy rifle. Now, then if you look at someone like my editor for Airgunner magazine, Dave Barnum. Now, Dave Barnum is, I think he's only 1 chromosome away from being a Bigfoot. You know, he's like 6'8", he's like built like a brick toilet. The guy is massive, but if you put a BSA Ultra into his hand, he'll still be able to shoot it. You've got to be confident in the gun you use and don't listen to everybody telling you what you must have. It's your choice, but just make sure you test it before you buy it. And if you get a gun that fits you, prone, kneeling, standing, you'll be a much better shot than trying to manipulate a rifle that is no good for you. I'm not going to go over kneeling, mainly because I've still got problems with my legs. But again, take your gun and use it in the kneeling position. The added depth enables you to put your arm along the top of your leg. I'll put a picture up. Or if you want, you can shoot with your arm in the up position if you've got a sporter rifle. I did a video on kneeling shots, and I'll put that in a link below, and we go over that a little bit in more detail. But that's pretty much about it. Just get a gun that fits. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Today, believe it or not, is video number 48 for Life at the Range. We've got our next video coming in a few weeks, and then we've got our Christmas video, which we're planning on releasing on Boxing Day, hopefully. We're going to be doing something really fun for our Christmas video. We're going to do our best to take these rifles out and see what kind of groups we can get at 100 yards, and hopefully shooting some fun targets. As ever, thank you so much. Please let me know what you'd like me to cover in the comments below. I really do appreciate all your comments. I read every single one. I try to get back on as many as I can. I've been a bit bad last couple of days, also last couple of videos, but I will try and answer everything. If you've got a question, please send me an email at garychillingworth@laughatarange.com, or just put your questions in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. As ever, look after yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all again very, very soon here on the range, and hopefully it won't be as dark and dingy as it is today. See you soon. Ta-da.